This is a HeadGum podcast.
Do I have lots of boogers in my nose?
Stop. No, you're clean.
Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Jackass. Hello, my name's Johnny Knoxville, and this is
Jeff Tremaine.
Welcome to Jackass, the podcast. And today we have a very special guest, Mr.
Chris Pontius. Thanks for having me.
Chico Fiesta. Usually we try to prep a little for these things, but like with Pontius on, I don't have to do a word.
No
I don't have to do
preparation.
shit.
Chris is actually, of the cast members, the one I've known the longest.
Yeah. I met Jeff. Actually, I hadn't even met anyone at Big Brother, and I got interviewed for Big Brother for somehow Thomas Campbell ended up doing the interview, and I don't even know why, but I was naked in the interview, and I said a bunch of crazy stuff.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, I was naked. When the interview came out, it caused quite a stir, and Tom, I was living in Hawaii at the time, and Thomas said, "You should call those guys," and I said, "Yeah, I should work for them," and so I called up. He gave me the number, and I called up Jeff, and Jeff. The first thing Jeff Tremaine said to me was, "Chris Pontius, you're a very interesting young man."
Well, he got me in quite a bit of trouble with his one-page interview.
But that was before Flint?
Yeah, way before Flint.
Why did you get in trouble for that?
Because he talked a lot of shit about some pretty well-known skateboarders. And,
Yeah, I said some wild stuff. And the thing was, I was in kind of a crazy mood that night because I had to go to court the next day because I'd been arrested for a warrant for a skateboarding ticket. My bail was $7,500.
Wow.
And so I had to go to court and deal with this at the time. And so I was in a wild mood, so some crazy stuff was coming out.
when was that? Was probably 1993, maybe?
If
94?
that.
Maybe not even?
92? Yeah, it was like issue 8 of Big Brother or something like that.
That would have been 93 then, yeah.
I think, yeah. So I when I talked to Jeff, I said I should work for you guys, and he said I think you should too. And so I sent a bunch of like, I had a little notebook I would write little stories in and different stuff, and I sent just a bunch of them in, and they went through them. And the first one they published was 18 Ways to Be an Asshole, it said some crazy stuff. Like,
Do you remember?
Yeah, a lot of them were really bad things, but
What was there were some good ones in that.
yeah.
Say one of them. I can't remember.
Well, I don't want to say the one that really sticks out in my mind. I can't say.
Okay.
I think people should
say one of the ones that doesn't stick out as much, but there were some really good ones.
Yeah, God,
Oh.
I want to look at it. Like the one that's sticking out in my mind is sticking out too much, and it's really, especially like, yeah, it's really bad. I can't remember the other.
Well,
ones.
we can just put a
Yeah,
picture
do that.
of the article right here,
Yeah.
and we can darken out anything that's too.
We might have to darken out what he's saying if I remember correct. I don't know.
It's just a big black blob of an
Well,
article.
see, when I was that age, I was really into like the Meat Men, that band,
Right.
You grew up with, I know, like, and about basically just writing like the most like bad stuff I could think of,
Yeah.
like that would almost like just be offensive, like at the time.
When did we have you answer letters? So we would get letters from fans of
Mhm.
Big Brother, and Chris one day answered the letters, and it was the funniest shit that I've ever read. Like to this day, I think the funniest shit that I've ever read.
They are hilarious because they ask a question, but then his little mind takes you on a little trip.
Chris would definitely take them on a
Yeah.
verbal adventure.
You just use it as a base, and then you go wherever. I would spend a lot of time on those letters, though.
Yeah.
One time, one of my letter answers got Dave Carney, attacked by another former pro skateboarder in Australia. Yeah, because he thought that it was Dave that was answering. Like long after like Jackass had started and we left Big Brother, and Dave, someone had written in from the skate shop that this person worked for at the time in Atlanta. Basically, the guy rubbed me the wrong way, and I mentioned something about him and maybe his ex-girlfriend or something like that, and then he thought it was Dave that did it. So Dave was in Australia on a tour when he was on a tour with all these girl pro skaters, and he was the mom, and he was dressed as a lady the whole time. and he was at like a skate party, and he went up to meet the guy, and the guy just like punched him and started like saying, like use blah blah blah. And Dave had no idea what he was talking about, and I didn't know about it until I read about it in Big Brother, and I was like, oh no, this is because of me.
Dave Carney, wonderful writer, great artist, not the best fighter to come along the block.
I punched Dave in the face once.
Oh yeah.
For what?
We were interviewing Bill Weiss, and we were taking pictures of Bill naked in his bathroom for his 2-page spread. And Carney was drunk.
Yeah.
And he got in my face about something, and I was kind of at wit's end. We were trying to get, it was like late, and he got in my face, and I just socked him in the face. And then I felt so bad right after. I'm like, God damn it, why did I do that? Like,
How many of your employees did you punch in the face? You got Carney, you got Cossack.
those are the only two, I think.
Oh.
The first time I met Jeff in real life, he attacked Cossack because it was his birthday. And
It was Jeff's birthday or Cossack's birthday?
It was Cossack's birthday.
Happy birthday.
Jeff was 27 and Cossack was turning 27. They brought a cake out for him, and then Jeff like jumped on him and like beat not beat him up in a mean way, but like I'd never met these guys
With love.
I beat him up in a nice way.
Yeah, I didn't know their dynamic.
He handed him a gift and he opened it. It was Jeff's fist.
Yeah.
So soon after I met Chris, he would come down to L.A. and stay. Cliver and I lived together in Hermosa Beach. We had a little townhouse by the beach, and Chris would end up staying with us like weeks at a time. He would just live with us on our floor. And I don't remember much of it, but I remember this one time. This is later. This is when we had Blunt magazine. So Blunt magazine was like the snowboard version of Big Brother. And Whitey, who has filmed for Jackass, he's been a cameraman for us, and is the guy who found Danger Aaron for us.
Son of a bitch.
Was sleeping on my floor. We had gone out that night, and Whitey was the photo editor of Blunt, so he was staying on my floor, and we had gone out that night, and then Whitey left the bar early, came home, and then Chris and I came home from the bar, and Whitey was laying like right in our kitchen floor. We had like a futon, and he looked like he was naked. He just had like the little bit of a blanket over his underwear, but you couldn't see it. So I'm like, fuck, Whitey's naked. What the fuck? Like, and so Whitey's camera was on our kitchen counter. And so I grabbed Whitey's camera and I made Chris take off all his clothes and spoon Whitey. And with Whitey's camera, we did a photo shoot. And I took
Did he wake up? Or?
No, he never fucking moved. Like he was passed out.
Drunk still?
He was passed out, and so we did all these
I was all over him.
pretty gross photos.
I would love to see those.
Yeah, pretty gross photos. And then I went upstairs and passed out, forgot about it. Chris went and passed out. Forgot all about it, right? And then the way it would work was Whitey would turn all his film in. Rick would go get it processed. It would come back from getting, this is, camera film back in the days, not digital. And Rick would sleeve up all the slides into these plastic sheets and just leave all Whitey stuff over there. But Rick's, looking at it and sleeving it up, make sure who's whose. He must have seen those pictures because he saw it before Whitey and just slid them all up and just put them in Whitey's pile. And then Whitey looked at him and must have seen, like, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
And just like went home and never showed me these pictures. I never saw the pictures. And then I forgot all about it until maybe a year later. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. What the fuck?
Did he not give you those pictures to this day?
Never gave me those
Never
pictures.
mentioned
Because he's taken a couple of pictures of me that
Yes.
I would have liked to had back. But
He might have a
I think
few
they
of you
even
that-
put him
Yeah.
a couple in the art show.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I didn't really know Whitey at the time when I got naked with him, like without him knowing. So he probably wasn't comfortable with it, like especially back then. That kind of, it wasn't as accepted.
Yeah.
But that futon at Jeff's house was gnarly because like all the guests would always stay on it, and sometimes like when they go out in Hermosa and to all the bars, like
Well, there's no threat of Cliver and I bringing home a girl. So it was,
no,
if any action happened there, it was really our guests on that futon.
yeah.
That poonhound Sean Cliver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never shot. There wasn't a lot of ladies wouldn't be over there ever, except
That is absolutely true.
But like when I go meet him in Hermosa at these bars, sometimes I'd just be arriving when he was almost like 2 a.m. He'd just been drinking all night, and I'd be totally sober, and we walk down the street and he'd try to get me. He'd go like I remember one time there was a group of British guys, like it was around when Oasis was huge, and in that Backbeat Beatles movie. And like there was these guys from like Manchester walking down the street singing or something. And he's like, "You guys from England?" And he's like, and they had like an Oasis shirt on. He's like, "Is that Oasis?" He's like, he says Oasis suck. They're a bunch of pussies, and so are you guys. And like, and then he's like, "It's my favorite band." And like, they get mad and want to beat me up. And then like, and I was just like dealing with this, like, because I was in a completely different state of mind, like, because I just gotten out of my car from driving.
Did you ever get in a fight because of Jeff?
No, not because of him. I could have, but luckily, I think they would figure it out. But I did learn how to get myself into a lot of fights. Like,
Yeah, you got beat up. Who was that guy? Who were you with that one time you got really beat up trying to protect?
With Greg Shuchuk.
Greg Shuchuk.
Yeah, that was at the Damned. I went and saw the Damned. And I at the time I wasn't like. I later became more like their music more, but I got myself a little bit drunk, and I wasn't very good at drinking at the time, and
You got great at it though, folks.
yeah, I did. I went up on stage and I hugged the singer and Dave Vanian, and like I jumped into the crowd, and I think someone didn't like me the way I was behaving and started fighting with me. Maybe it was a girl, and then her boyfriend started fighting with me, and we both got kicked out. And I was laughing the whole time while they were dragging us both out and having a great time.
But did you get beat up, or you just got in a fight?
At this point, I hadn't gotten beat up, but we just got kicked out. And then Greg Shuchuk, this guy that had been involved with Big Brother a little bit, runs into me outside. He's like, "That was fucked. We gotta get those guys." And like, I was like, "Sure."
Now
and
go
then,
get them.
Yeah. So he goes off around the corner, and I'm like, whatever. And I didn't care. It was all good times to me. But then I go around the corner, and he's being held by like some guys while other guys are beating him up, like like five guys.
He got his ass whooped.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
So they're holding him and beating him up. So I jumped in to like back him up, and he ran away.
Oh,
And so
wow.
I had to, and they were big guys, so I had to deal with these guys. I had to try to fight five of them, and that's when I learned 5 is too many.
Yeah.
Like no matter how hard you try, they got the best of me, and they dragged me into an alley, and then they got me. This is kind of dark, but they got me onto the ground. They were kicking me in the head,
Yeah.
and I was protecting myself as best I could. And then one of them's like, "That's enough, guys." Like it was just like that, like in the movies, like
Wow.
where one of them's like, "It's too much," So yeah, I didn't win that one.
But they busted up Shuchuk's head like wide open. And
They did. It shouldn't. It should have just been stopped when we got kicked out. But things happen.
3 is
You learn.
hard, but
3
doable. 5, too many.
Yeah, you're totally right. You're exactly right. 3 is doable, but yeah, 5 is just too much, especially if they're.
I've always found fighting one guy after a bar is too much.
You do get winded if you're drunk. Like you get so winded if you fight.
There's just so many punches I can block with my face before I fall down.
My fighting days are long past. I think. I don't think I'll ever get in a fist fight again. Most likely. But yeah, back at the time, it seemed like a good idea every once in a while. Like
Chris and I have been in a few
fun.
fights, but never like
Physical.
punching. Physical.
just wrestling,
Wrestling.
also arguing.
But like on the ground, Pontius
Always.
is going to
Always.
take you.
But I'll give him a fight.
He's pretty
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah, Jeff is strong. I can't handle Jeff on the ground.
I told Jeff what the problem with his wrestling technique is. He's really strong, but he uses too much. He uses too much of his power all the time
Yeah.
instead of conserving some of it and then waiting to explode. But
Yeah.
But yeah, but other than that, yeah,
That's the
of
problem.
the group, he can out wrestle most everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember we did that sumo wrestling? That was Rick. Rick was actually a pretty hard one to sumo wrestle, but it came down to me and Jeff in the end.
Rick wasn't that hard because Rick just storms at you and he's top heavy. So if you just step aside real quick,
That was the way to beat him.
yeah.
With his girth. Yeah, I saw a sumo wrestle on like a video of the guy like he like moved out of the way just in time as the big guy comes, and that's how you had to do it with
Yeah.
Rick. You had to trick him, not try to.
Did we do that for Big Brother or was that
Yeah.
Jackass?
We were all in it.
Big Brother.
We had
That was
little-
the Depends. The
Yeah.
Depends sumo
Depends
wrestling.
Olympics.
yeah.
It Depends Olympics.
I was sitting here thinking about, from the last episode, the first time I peed on you, we were at the Red Lion, and you're like, yeah, I was at the bar. I was probably talking to some girl. I'm like,
Probably was.
you
probably
never
wasn't.
talk to a girl
It
in the
probably wasn't.
bar
You're
unless she just came up and threw herself at you. You are always talking to like 2 or 3 dudes loudly. Like, you just weren't like interested. And I'm
Try
like,
to make
wait,
that
like,
story-
oh yeah, Jeff talking to a girl.
You're right. You're totally right, by the way. God damn.
It was funny.
I'll remember one more bar story and then we'll move on. But
To another bar story.
yeah,
And
there
then
was this
end up
tiny
with
little bar.
Pontius's penis.
There was a tiny little bar in Hollywood called the Coach and Horses.
Oh, yeah.
And this was a cool little bar. It had a pool table, a really miniature pool table that was right up against the wall. So you had to use the little
Mm-hmm.
tiny stick, you know? And it was real hard you put your quarters in and it was hard to get the balls to come out.
Mm.
And like, so I remember one time I put my quarters in and there was a certain way you had to do it to get all the balls to come out. And so I had to get the bartender, and the bartender
Was it the old guy or his son who looked like he was straight out of Easy Rider?
is straight out Easy Rider guy. And I think he might have been a heroin addict. And he was doing it because he had these like lumpy tracks on his arms, and some of them were kind of drippy.
Yep.
And
Drippy, lumpy track.
he did the thing, like he came and did the quarters thing, and then he smeared me with his arm.
Oh, gross.
And I'm like, oh my god, his heroin arm just got me.
Heroin arm.
But
Oh, gross.
that's not what the story was about. But
Oh my God.
one time, Chris and I went in there, and we were pretty, loose.
Bang,
and,
bang, Lulu.
Yeah, and they had a great jukebox, and people went
Yeah.
there for the
Yeah.
jukebox, right? And so I had come up with this idea how to really just stir the bar up. We had just gotten there, and we were being loud, and I'm like, I went and put $20 in. Well, right before I put $20 in the jukebox, I unplugged it and then plugged it back in.
That was
put
your move.
$20 in, and then I think you had to guard while I picked all the songs.
Yeah.
And so he would fend off anyone that was trying to get to me while I was plugging in $20. And you got a lot of songs for $20 back then.
And whatever songs were in there before would get erased.
Yeah, as soon as you unplug it, you're starting. They're going to play your song first.
I've seen you do it many times.
So that was not a way to make friends at that bar.
Yeah, I remember one night me and Roger were in there and we were playing pool, a group of guys, and I don't know, something got started. There were words going back and forth, and then me and these guys end up out front about the fight, and Roger comes out, 6'4". He's huge, my cousin, and he walks out, sees that we're about to fight, and he looks at those guys. He's like, "Hey, you guys want to fight?" And they saw how happy he was, and they just kind of fizzled away because like he was a legitimately great street fighter and liked it a lot.
And during the Big Brother days, we were at Coach and Horses, and I was with Earl Parker. And Drew Barrymore walked in, and like, what the fuck? This wasn't like a celebrity bar by any means.
No.
This was a little dive bar. And so Earl was all smitten, and he ran across the street to Kinko's. There was a Kinko's, 24-hour Kinko's across the street, and he made a zine for her.
Straight stalker move.
Just made this Xerox zine called Drew Barrymore zine. Quickly whipped up. He was a zine maker, and then gave it to her.
Was she stoked?
No, not at all. But,
like whose inclination is like, I'm got to go make a magazine for her right now?
He was gone for an hour and she was still there, and he came back and gave her Drew Barrymore zine.
Wow.
I just remember
Earl was one of the writers for Big Brother who
he was amazing.
Roll Your
for a little
Smoke
while.
in Tears. That's his famous article.
Yeah.
I loved that article.
He's the best, man.
He was really good. Speaking of coaching horses, there is one thing I would like to add. There's many stories there, but I did see Jeff Tremaine make out with a girl there.
That's so
And
weird.
I just realized it.
I don't think I ever saw that.
I saw it. It was during a Journey song, that "Don't Stop Believing," and that how that song affects women.
That song, took full advantage of that. I guess.
And what was his style?
It was crazy. There were just some random girls there, and then the song was on, and then they just started making out, then they fell to the floor, almost wrestling. It was pretty rough.
Wow.
But then after the song, after the makeout, they were done, and it was just I think it was just something that two people had to do at that moment, and then it passed, and that was it, and then they went on with their night.
I remember
It was all there was to it.
This has nothing to do with the making out, but it was another Coach and Horses story. I remember one night we went in there, we were wasted, and there's a guy sitting there, and he had a big motorcycle helmet, and we put his motorcycle helmet on, and we were just whoever's wearing the helmet just was taking punches from everybody else. Like we were just smashing
This
our
was that
hands.
night.
That was that same night?
Yeah, and I think you put it on one of those girls and started punching maybe them. Either her or the one she was making out with.
My hands were so bloody the next morning. I was like, what the fuck did I do? And yeah, we were just punching it full on with whoever, girls, boys, like put the helmet on and just take a punch.
Who knew we had so much history with the Coach and Horses?
You know, the night that it all fell apart at the Coach and Horses for us, we were all there, like that same period of time, we all were out there that one night, and I think I got caught unplugging the jukebox. They kicked me out. So I went to 7-Eleven across the street. Meanwhile, you guys were still in there. I went to 7-Eleven. I made myself a burrito, and I don't know, for some reason, the guy at 7-Eleven did not like me, and he started yelling at me. Maybe I made a mess. And so I'm out in the parking lot taunting him while I'm peeing, and he's like, the police were just here. The police were just there. And I'm like, well, they're gone now. They can't help you now. And that guy remembered me for years. Every time I'd go into there, he'd be like, you motherfucker. But I went back to Coach and Horses after my confrontation with him. And I went to, I was going to like barge in through the door. And right as I was like, when we were doing that rugby style barging, and right as I was going to go through the door, I crashed into you guys getting kicked out. And it was so weird. It was perfect timing. Like it was a collision of the bouncers like trying to like pull you guys out. And yeah, so then we all got kicked out. So, and I remember them yelling at us. They're like, you guys were cool. You're not cool anymore.
It's funny. We could go because you're saying we have a history with Coach and Horse. We have a history with a lot of bars in town.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I remember that just reminded me. We were at another bar called the Bigfoot Lodge.
Yeah.
And Chris and I were there, and I was getting drunk. I don't know if you were drinking. You were probably drinking too then.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, probably.
And,
Nothing else though.
and
just
I
drinking.
said something, and I kind of took note. I always took notice if the bouncers were big or not.
Yeah.
And that place did not have a big enough bouncer.
No.
And so this bouncer came up and he was trying to kick me out. And so I was like, listen, you should get us drinks. You're getting paid by this bar. You're not capable of getting us out of here, so get us drinks. And he got mad and was like, they threatened to call the cops and everything. And so finally we left.
Like, call him.
We walked out to the sidewalk and I'm like, wait, why did we do that?
Yeah.
And so the bouncer was standing there all proud of himself. They got us out of the bar. And then Chris and I stormed the gate. And we pushed him aside and went back in and tried to order drinks again. And really dismissed that bouncer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had that same experience where I'll be out drinking with you and I'll be walking back in the bar and they will be kicking you out of the bar with force.
Yeah.
For the better part of 3 decades, me and the boys have committed what you might charitably call crimes against the male anatomy. Nut shots, cup tests, more nut shots, you name it.
So now we're making amends. We're doing something positive for the gentleman in your pants. This episode is brought to you by Blue Chew.
Blue Chew has given over 5 million men confidence where it counts. And now they also target arousal where it starts, the brain. Blue Chew just dropped something crazy. Blue Chew Gold.
Blue Chew Gold gets your brain and body on the same page. Other options just help blood flow, but Gold combines 4 ingredients into one powerful tablet. 2 of those ingredients maximize blood flow, and the other 2 boost arousal and intimacy in the brain.
Boing, 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 boing. Don't settle for a half solution, or as the Japanese call it, henyo, henyo. If you want a complete experience in the bedroom, go to BlueChew.com.
It'll help your brain.
Discover your options at BlueChew.com, and we've got a special deal for our listeners right now. When you buy 2 months of Blue Chew Gold, you get the third for free with promo code Jackass. That's promo code Jackass. You will also receive an additional 10% off plus free overnight shipping on your first order. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the pod and the bedroom. Boing, 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 boing.
You know, there's something I learned from Jeff, though, early on, like when I go out drinking with him, like, because it was right around, I didn't drink for years. And then when I started hanging out with him, eventually I started drinking.
At what age did you start drinking?
Well, I drank when I was like a teenager. Then I didn't drink for years until I was like 22. And then, so I was out. Jeff would go up like when someone would be there, he'd be like, "Go fuck yourself," and then they'd be like, "What?" Like, and they'd want to like fight, and he'd be like, "But in a good way." And then like he basically he had all these variations of it though. But he'd get them really excited about to fight, and then he'd like talk it down like, and then
sometimes.
Then yeah,
It depends.
and then he'd be like, I was just kidding. I was just kidding. And then they'd mellow out and they'd be like hell, I was kidding. Go fuck yourself. And it would go back and forth. And so like, that was like my teacher of how to behave when you're drunk was Jeff. And so like, I was staying in Fresno, I think for a while, and I'd be at a party and I'd go do that. And like, everyone would just be like, what the fuck? Like,
that style never got you in any trouble with the authorities, did it?
No, it never got me hurt or anything like that.
No, I mean in trouble with the authorities. You never had any trouble with the authorities, did you?
I have gotten in lots of trouble with the authorities while drinking, yeah. Like,
What was that night? There was one night where you had all your clothes, you left a bar and you got stuck outside and you took off all your clothes to take a nap.
I was in
and
Miami.
You folded your clothes up on the car, like somebody's car, not even your own car, but you took all your clothes up and folded them nicely. And then you went to bed and then cops woke you up.
Yeah.
He was buck naked on the car sleeping?
Yeah,
No,
on
not, he
SUV.
was next to the car, I think.
Well, here's what I heard. It was in Miami, and Steve-O and I were supposed to present an award at the Latin MTV Awards. So the night before, we went out on the town, and we hadn't seen each other for a while. We got a little loose, and I ended up like, I think I decided to go home at one point. I was tired of being at the bar, and so I went to walk home, but instead of going to my hotel, I thought this SUV hood or something was my room, and I went to sleep on it apparently, and the police came. I'll tell you how it looked from my eyes at the time. The police came and they woke me up, and I was furious to be woken up. So I started.
Were you wearing clothes?
I was naked, completely naked, and I started a fight with them, and eventually I had to be pepper sprayed, which you always told me that of the self-defense test, the pepper spray hurt the most.
Yeah.
I totally believe you, because like that, nothing has stopped me faster than that pepper.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I was useless. So then they thought I was crazy, and they took me to instead of the jail, they took me to the hospital. and later, like when everything mellowed out in the morning, like the policeman was really nice, and apparently they just came up, they got a call that someone was naked sleeping on the hood of an SUV, and
Didn't realize it was a film star.
like, I don't know what happened that night, but something got a hold of me. But anyway, it all worked out. Since I was naked, I had to wear a little gown when I was in the hospital. And the orderly there was like a real Nurse Ratched type from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And I was kind of like in distress because I was just
Arrested
stranded.
and
Yeah, everything.
drunk
Yeah.
and hungover.
And he's like, I think someone needs a Valium and all this stuff. And he was just really creepy. Like the policeman had to like break it up between us. And so,
oh, you wanted to fight him?
yeah. Oh yeah. And yeah, he pissed me off. And I had this little gown on. It was too small for me though. So my butt was hanging out. and then I couldn't remember the name of my hotel room. And I was going to depend on my key, which probably is why I ended up on the SUV.
You name your hotel rooms?
I couldn't, sorry, my hotel.
Oh.
Yeah. Let alone the room. But so eventually it was figured out, like, I think they called up MTV. I was like, I'm telling you, I have to present an award at the Latin MTV Awards.
Get MTV on the phone. They'll tell you.
Yeah, Van Toffler.
I think they got a hold of Steve-O's sister and all this, and I could not for the life of me remember the name of this hotel. It was one of those boutique hotels, and they had treated me like a real gentleman the day before, and they gave me like a bottle of champagne and all this stuff. So I show up in the morning with this gown that doesn't even cover my butt, and I'm like, hi.
They dropped you off in the gown at the hotel?
Yeah, because there was nothing else for me to wear. And
Now, Chris is a notoriously bad prisoner, though. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Really bad prisoner.
Like, it's much better to take him to the hospital than it is to take him to jail.
Yeah.
Now, what was the jail where you just broke everything?
First, in San Luis Obispo, I was. I'll tell you what happened. Like my last memory, I was out with some friends, and then next thing I knew, I was getting like mugshotted,
and I was minding my own business. Next thing you know,
in my state of mind, I was like thinking it was for skateboarding or something. But it turned out that looking back on it, a friend of mine had like this nerve problem, and I remember like she had a thing of pills that said do not take with alcohol. So, and they weren't like fun pills, I don't think, but I
you know
figured
what that means.
if you don't take them with alcohol, if you take them with alcohol, maybe it'll feel good. So I took some in without them knowing, the police, I guess, found me. They got a call from some apartment complex of a man on the front lawn in front of this apartment. So they arrived to see, I read the police report, said, we arrived to see Pontius standing in the front yard with his pants unbuttoned and unzipped. And we asked him if he knew where he was, and he said, I know, you know damn well what I'm talking about. I'm in Capitolio. I think I said Capitola, but there was a street in San Luis called Capitolio.
Oh.
But so anyway, so they arrested me without incident. But once I was in jail, I could not handle being in a cage. And I went wild. So first thing I did was I took off all my clothes.
Which is usually the first thing you do.
Yeah. And so I was screaming. I toilet papered my cell, and then I realized if I put my shirt down the toilet, I could keep flushing it and flood my cell. So in this particular layout of this jail, there was like the office in the middle and then all the holding cells around it. Because I'd been in there before when I got arrested for the skateboarding warrant, which they pulled me over in San Luis and found out.
You got arrested for the skateboarding award?
Skateboarding warrant.
Oh.
Which was in Southern Orange County, but I got pulled over in San Luis for it, and so they had to hold me in the cell there. So I became familiar with it, and so I started flooding the jailhouse or the jail, my room, my cell, not my room. So but it started flooding into the whole office like a lot, and so everyone in there, all the police had to like mop it up, and it was this giant mess. And I'm screaming, doing naked stuff, like, obscene things, like showing them parts of my body, my butt hole. So they come in, and my logic at the time was if I act bad enough, they're going to just get tired of having me here and send me home.
Which I think might have worked, actually.
Yeah, I think it might have worked. But so they come in, and they're like, we're going to get you out of here. I'm like, yes. It worked. Instead, they take me to another cell and they put a straitjacket on me. But at least the cell was dry. And so they put the straitjacket on me, and I guess that, I don't know, somehow I almost got it off. I had one more strap left to do, and they all rush in and they like secured it super tight, and they handcuffed me and put the handcuff thing through my belt loop too. So I'm like this, like hogtied, like with a straitjacket on.
Oh, shit.
And no matter how hard I tried, I could not for the life of me escape. And but also before that, I forgot to mention I was throwing myself against like the plexiglass in hopes of, I thought maybe if I did it, I could shatter it. So I was trying so hard. And
God, I wish we had film of that.
I know.
Yeah.
I was trying to get a video of you guys laughing over there because it's so much. So funny.
Then my mom, I didn't live anywhere at the time, but like I was visiting in San Luis at the time, and I think I called my mom to pick me up, or something
Because we
like
would
that.
get you months for a time at at my house. He would just be living there.
I kind of had these like stops,
Yeah.
like, and I'd visit them in LA, and then I'd go Santa Cruz, San Francisco, and so on. But like, so I was in San Luis, and my mom came to pick me up, and she's like. She later told me, I came to pick you up and you were just garbage. But they told her they couldn't let me out yet because my clothes were still being washed. So anyway, my mom went home or something, was over it. And so I went out, like in this jail was like out of town away. So when I was younger, I used to always see like dirtbags like hitchhiking home from jail, like that. And then I realized I was out there hitchhiking. I was one of those dirtbags. But this rad guy from Ecuador, Peru, picked me up and gave me a ride, and he was really nice. And I went home, went to my friend's house, and told him about my adventures.
What were your parents' reactions to these adventures, or did they even know? Because your dad is a doctor or a surgeon, or
He's a doctor, yeah.
And Jeff's dad's a doctor.
Yep.
We didn't talk about that adventure too much. Like, I think I.
Any of your adventures, were they?
Oh yeah. We did talk about it a little bit. Yeah, I've told them all about all my adventures, or not all of them, but lots of them. Yeah, they're pretty. My parents are awesome. Like, they loved hearing about my adventures. As long as, like didn't get myself hurt or into like anything trouble, but they love the wild adventures, like, and they love hearing about all of our times, and they, they know who all my friends were and all that. They love all you guys. Like, they think you guys are awesome, and they love hearing about the craziness. Like, and my parents are really rad, because when I was growing up, I didn't want to do the normal route in life, and of going to college and these things that I was under the impression you were supposed to do to like get from A to B, and I realized at one point you don't have to follow that path.
At what age?
I probably around 17. I met Thomas Campbell, actually, and he was like this kind of nomadic art, skateboarder, artist guy, and he'd write for magazines, and he was like no one I'd ever met.
Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah, and he would like hitchhike across the country, and he'd wear like crazy like yak skin jackets, and he lived in Santa Cruz. He was kind of hippie at the time, and but really rad. And when I met him, I realized you can do anything you want in this world.
Yeah.
Like, and like he'd go to Europe.
Thomas would go places without a plan. He knew, like, he would chase surf, and he would chase aliens, I think.
Yeah, he was
he was really interested in where aliens were going to land or whatever. And so he'd go to places like Morocco without a plan, and always would land on his feet and end up staying in somebody's studio and have a place to paint.
Have an art show.
Yeah, he'd send me these letters with these really cool like from all over the world. I always get these
camp out like on a
letters
cliff.
from him, and it was so interesting because I did not have that in me.
Yeah,
to just be that loose. I'd have to have a hotel. I'd need to know where I was going to sleep, and he just didn't. He would go. He'd get the plane ticket. And that is as far of the planning
like
as
total Neil Cassidy type.
Yeah,
of
yeah. It didn't matter how much money he had, and even early on, like he'd even dumpster dive and make some stew out of, because he knew like certain grocery stores threw like perfectly fresh vegetables out, and just he lived like he knew how to survive, and he just had faith that it would be all right. And I remember him saying
total confidence in, like, I'm just going to meet people and it's going to unfold, and it always did.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he had such a big influence on you. What did you guys have adventures together?
Yeah, like, so I'd go up and stay with him in Santa Cruz, and I actually hooked up with him in Australia, and we drove up the coast and surfed and slept in his van and had great adventures that was like 1999, which, funny enough, I went, this is kind of crazy, I went to a skateboard demo randomly when I got to Australia, and I ran into Dmitry Eliaskovich there, who was on tour with Audio doing the demo, and randomly ran into him and went to this demo, and then he went off on the tour, and we went our separate ways. Years later, I was with May, my wife, visiting her parents in Australia, where she's from Australia. I'm looking at her photo album of pictures, and I see pictures of the demo. She was actually there.
No way.
Wow.
At this demo.
Wow.
Like, in a, like,
that's sweet.
We didn't meet. We didn't cross paths. Like, it was so weird, though. I was like,
but maybe
we were like destined to cross paths. Yeah. Like, and she was quite younger, at the time, I was an adult and she would have been in high school at the time. So, it wasn't the right time to cross paths, but I mean, to meet, but yeah, it was amazing. I was like, oh my God, it was the most random place.
Wow.
Like, yeah. So it was so cool.
What is Thomas Campbell doing now? Is he still an artist, or?
Yeah. Well, he has a family now, but yeah, he still paints and sculpts, and he's a serious artist.
Yeah. He would, like, there was this group of guys like Chris Reed, Chris Reed.
Yeah.
Who's an amazing artist. And he went to college in San Luis, where I'm from. There's a college. So that's where I met Dave Carney and Chris Reed and all these older guys. So me and my friends that were like teenagers, we'd hang out at their houses because they, we still lived with our parents. And so we'd go there and they'd let us hang out and just be wild. And so we learned from all these guys.
We would call them the Central Coast weirdos. But I lumped you all together, but it turns out the guys that grew up in San Luis, those are the real weirdos.
Yeah, the ones that are from there.
Chris isn't even the king of the weirdos.
No.
Who's the king of the weirdos?
Caleb was the king of the weirdos.
Yeah,
Wow.
my friend Caleb, he's
and Scotty's, Scotty,
In what way
Kasak.
does he?
I mean, he's just really eccentric. He was when I was younger, he was the one that had a license and driver's license, so he'd be driving. So we'd always drive around. And he was a little bit older. So yeah, he was like, he did a lot of stuff like me, but he now lives in France, and he's like he does pottery and
He's an interesting. They're all.
But how was he weirder than you?
he'd make these movies with us. Like he made the introduction to the first Big Brother video.
What was the first thing? I can't remember.
Well, one of them, and tell me if I'm wrong. It's where Scotty hits you over the head with a shovel.
Scotty
and
had
you
this.
Die.
He had a Chevelle muscle car, you know, and that we bought all these off these speed freaks that needed money, and it was really beautiful though. So, the beginning of it, it's like he made it with a Super 8 camera. Caleb was like into like making movies with us. So because he had a video camera that he took from his parents. So anyway, he eventually got a Super 8, and so he the beginning of it, like this muscle car pulls up. And Scotty got a mustache and he looks like a trucker looking guy, a roughneck. And he throws me out and I'm wearing just like a frilled vest, no pants. And I stand up and I'm like, and he hits me over the head with a shovel and knocks me out and then
he
pulls
falls
off.
And his butt's right. The camera's looking right up his butt.
Yeah. So Caleb made the beginning of that, and that was probably his only involvement with Big Brother. But he was super creative. But just those artistic, to make it as an artist, you got to kind of have the art side and the social business side too.
Right.
And Caleb more was just all the way on the art side, And I think the artists that make a living, off of it, whatever that art is, you kind of need that social part too.
Yeah. Was he a drinker? Was he? No. He doesn't sound like a fighter.
No, he just wasn't. He
definitely not a fighter.
Not a fighter. No, I never would he fight, and not a lover either. To come to think of it. Yeah, he
had the smallest penis of the Central Coast.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pretty.
I mean, that's saying he probably have a very average sized penis.
No, he has a small one.
Does Kasich have a big one too?
I think
Scotty's got a big one. Right?
Scotty's got a big one too, and Kasich's probably got a pretty big one, I think. But like Scott and Caleb were in the shower one time together, and which has a story behind that too. But he said Scott told me that Caleb looked down and he's like, "Why do you guys all have big penises? Like, why is mine so small?"
Like he could supply an answer.
Like now I'm looking back, you were the naked dude from the very first interview I forgot. There was a naked picture of Chris. Then we went on the East Coast tour with Big Brother magazine, and he and Dave Carney, and I didn't know them very well.
Yeah,
were painted orange and naked. They came to the offices naked, painted orange, and we got in a van and just drove to the East Coast.
Yeah, Dave wanted he when we went to meet up with them to start the East Coast tour, we drove down from up north, and he wanted to go in naked, painted orange. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that too. And we walked in there. Yeah, I barely knew them. That was the second time I'd even been there.
How many times did Jeff Tremaine fire you from Big Brother?
I only really remember one solid time where he said you're fired.
I think it was one. Yeah, one time I absolutely called you and said, "Chris,
fully fired.
You're fired," and that's official.
He said it. I was afraid for a few weeks to even call Jeff to.
What had transpired?
I did not get on. I was supposed to meet them in Miami for a Big Brother tour, but we didn't have the same plane flights. Which looking back might have been not a good decision, but. I was supposed to be on American and they were on United or something. And I decided not to get on my plane. I'd had kind of a weird night the night before. It was the night after New Year's. We were at karaoke and I got mad at one of the pro skaters we were at, I think. And I might have headbutted somebody and I just had a little weird night. And I at the time I had kind of a phobia of planes also. And I didn't get anywhere. I decided not to go on the tour, but I didn't tell them. So like when they were in Miami, or wherever they landed, like Jeff probably had to go back and forth to the airport. Like, where is he? And
there's no cell phones back then, right?
Yeah.
This is when.
It was horrible.
And this, by the way, was the first time I met Steve. We were going to Steve-O's house from the airport, basically. I think
that was when you first met Steve-O.
We first met Steve-O, and he missed that.
What year was that?
97-ish, 97, I think. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Maybe it was the first day of 1999.
Was it that long?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, because I remember it being kind of a big New Year's.
Yeah, because it was right before Jackass, really.
Yeah.
98 is when I did the self-defense.
Yeah, so it's right in that zone because we did. We went and filmed Steve-O at his mom's house, and he was doing all these tricks and like just doing fireballs. He was just so excited that we were there.
Just on,
like you've never seen anybody on, to where he was annoying the shit out of me. And so I had a bunch of skaters. I had Clyde and. Bunch of us were in a van, And then Steve was like, hey, dude, I want to go jump off this bridge. Let's get a picture of me doing a flip off this bridge. And I'm like, cool. So we went down to take the picture of him jumping off the bridge. And as soon as he landed, we filmed video of it. And as soon as he landed in the water, I got everybody in the van and we left. He was in the middle of the water. And motherfucker ran on water, got in his car and caught up to us.
Oh my God.
We tried to ditch him like 5 times on that trip. It could not shake him. Like he is impossible to get rid of.
Just hungry for footage.
Yeah. And he ended up getting on the cover.
Yep.
That issue. So, I want to talk about a couple of the articles that Chris wrote. Like, we did 2 shoe articles. I always thought it was just one. In my head, it was just one, but we did 2 shoe articles, and it was back when skate shoes had just taken off. Like there was like 100 different skate shoes out there, and so we decided to do all these tests, and you were involved in it too. And the first test was, do gorillas like them?
Yes.
And so I sent you to the zoo with some shoes.
Me and Sean went to the zoo with some shoes to see which shoes how the gorillas.
So would you throw like 3 pairs of shoes in there?
Yeah, I threw some shoes. I think the gorilla ended up liking the cabs.
So we're gonna let the gorilla decide what are the best skate shoes for them. And they threw these shoes into the gorilla enclosure, which is really irresponsible now that I think about it.
Yeah.
But
he picked them up and he took them off to his little cave. It was like closing time, and we were trying to get it like where no one would be looking. But then there was this weirdo on acid like doing like yoga for the gorilla, and so we had to wait for him to move. And then finally I got my moment. But then like a week or 2 later, I called the zoo and I confessed my crime because I got worried maybe a zookeeper would get attacked trying to take the shoe away from the gorilla. And so I called the zoo and this lady answers and she just started laughing. I told them what I did and she just thought it was funny. She didn't care. Like, we also wanted to see how rock stars liked the shoes.
yeah.
And we went to see Tommy Lee's band, Methods of Mayhem. and so he was like out there.
I was with you. They had that little rapper guy in the front.
Yeah, the little rapper that would crawl around Tommy. He'd wrap his body around. It was like the way stripper is on a pole. Like he would treat Tommy like the pole, and he would wrap himself around Tommy like while rapping.
In my head, he looked like Cookie Monster, but he was red.
He was white and with weird little ponytails. He was just like this weird little. And like Fred Durst was there, and George Clinton was there. It was like this weird rap, funky metal era. I don't know. It was weird, but all these like women that were from like the Motley Crue era that wanted that, you know, like maybe were like little hoochies back in the day had come to see Tommy and support his new band, but they weren't, you know, they'd maybe some of them had not kept themselves in the best shape, but they were still dressed for it, you know.
Did
So
rock stars like skate shoes?
I threw the shoe at Tommy. I hit him in the chest.
He did. He being like, I was going to bring because I did the movie The Dirt with Motley Crue, and Tommy and Nikki came out to the set, and I was like, man, I should tell him we threw shoes at him, but I never did.
But you got to be good friends with him.
I got to know him, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
but I'm still like, this is the first he's probably going to hear that we threw shoes at him.
Yeah.
We threw a lot of shoes that night.
Yeah, we did.
Like,
it was fun. I remember like riding on your back, like 'cause I think I needed to like.
I think I threw a few too. Like,
Yeah, I think you smashed a bottle too, amazingly. Jeff. Also, when I first met Jeff, he'd always like after he'd have a drink, sometimes he'd smash the bottle, you know, like the way the Vikings do it. Because he felt he felt that the price of a drink should, since there's sometimes expensive, that it should include the price of the glass as well. And that's how he justified it.
It's the best sound. You know, just like it's so like just rock and roll, like just smash. Like that almost always gets you kicked out.
Yeah.
I told a story about me trying to kill him with a big stein of beer.
Oh no.
I ended up almost killing someone else instead.
Why'd you go after him with that?
Because
I accidentally peed on his back.
Accidentally.
All right, like this is funny because remember how offensive that was back then? Like he peed up and down my back. I remember you lost your friendship with Carney because you peed on his tire of his car.
Yeah. But he was mad.
Really?
But that was offensive back then.
Really?
Yeah.
And, well, I think that was a lot. We didn't get anywhere, but I think we're going to end this one there. And let's pick up another one with Chris.
It sounds like we've barely begun.
We've barely even gotten into it.
Yeah,
right?
barely started. So we got up to what, 1998? Maybe we could do this again sometime.
Yes, maybe.
Next time on Jackass the Podcast.
Jeff grabbed me from the back of the head and threw a punch. All of a sudden, I go down to the ground. I'm on the ground.
He knocked you
I
down.
split his
knocked me-
eyebrow.
and he split my eyebrow.
Blood-
I come up.
Blood
when
is gushing off across his face.
Yeah, just a bloody face. I'm like, am I all right?
The whole bar just stopped and wanted to kill me.
That was a HeadGum podcast.